pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, our veterans, those fighting a good fight in Ukraine, those suffering from the military conflict in the Middle East, and those suffering from the hurricanes in western North Carolina, Florida, and the Southeast. Thank you.
American's Creed.
And can we do the creed?
American's Creed by William Tyler Page. I believe
in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and defend it against all enemies.
Thank you. Well,
None.
no? Okay. Katie?
All right, item number 4. I'd like to move that we approve items 4A, prior minutes, and 4B, tax collectors.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item number 5, this is all for, I'd like to move that we okay the Parks and Rec accepting the following donations. It's broken up in A, B, and C, but I think we can handle it all in one, if everybody's acceptable with that. Okay. And I'll just read that the donations of $55 from Rich's Wings. This is to be used for park improvements for recreation programs. And then we have $100 from Candlewood Valley Motors, $75 Candlewood Valley Pediatrics, $75 for Kramer and Anderson, $75 from En Vogue, $75 from Housatonic Valley Insurance, $100 from La Piccolina, $250 from M&O Construction, $75 from Meadowbrook Gardens, $250 from Modern Supply, $75 from Picarelli Enterprises, $75 gift card from Stop and Shop, and also $1,000 from Dawn Howe. And Dawn's donation is a sponsorship for 2 movie nights. And they're requesting that the donations be put in the New Milford Park and Recreation Gift Fund. And the New Milford Parks and Recreation Commission would like to thank all of these donors for their generosity.
Second.
Any discussion?
What's the item B for, do you know? Is that,
What?
item B, is that for like the race or something, do you know?
Item B,
It's 5B, do you know, is that for the race or something, do you know?
5B, I
Like
think.
who
is
it's
it-
from?
Well, it doesn't say what it's for, was it for the?
Isn't it all the same as down here?
I'm thinking that this is for trunk or treat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it could be, right, they didn't say, sorry, I'm so used to it.
Have to change that then?
We don't know, I would be a guess to say it's for trunk or treat. I think,
Recreation programs?
I think we'd still approve it,
Yeah, it's the
Wouldn't we?
race.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to change it?
No.
Oh, okay, okay.
Any
We'll
other
make a note.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you. First, I'd like to yield their comments first to Amy and Coach Morrissey, as they're going to talk about the opioid committee and a new recommendation that they talked about their last meeting.
Cool. Good evening, everyone. Coach and Amy here again. We have another proposal that we'd like to talk about tonight. Just another one in a collection that are coming along to the town council. Ms. Amy, would you like to?
Absolutely. So this proposal in particular is a request for reimbursement for training for law enforcement. So this training in particular would be for the crisis intervention team. And what we would be looking for, because a lot of this training is free of charge, which is a great opportunity for our law enforcement officials here, would be reimbursement for their time spent in this training program. So the CIT training curriculum is intended to provide officers and first responders with several different skills The skills that have been identified are to recognize the signs and symptoms of mental illness and co-occurring disorders, develop an understanding of the impact of mental illness and co-occurring disorders on the everyday lives of individuals they may come into contact with, recognize a mental health crisis situation, verbally de-escalate crisis situations when safe and appropriate, identify community resources and jail diversion options, identify what the appropriate steps to follow up are, and to learn how to problem solve with the treatment system.
If I may. So this proposal basically covers the costs for the training that would be provided to Chief Ceruto and his team up at the department. The amount that we're requesting in the amount of $10,000 would provide the ability for every officer to have this training. And it's been noted that this is a game changer. When our officers have this training. Chief Ceruto is a big proponent for this. He's already done some of this training, and really this is just the amount that he would need to complete the training for all the officers in the department.
And one thing, in speaking with Chief Ceruto, obviously Jake Schneider is our kind of a lead on this, but Jake is not there 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So this would provide the training for the other officers. So at least they could do the initial look at intake if they have to, and that could help speed up the process. Otherwise, trying to get Jake at a specific time where he may be either off or somewhere else, this provides extra flexibility within the department. And I know the chief was a big proponent of this.
And if I can just expand on that, this actually, I believe, we'll double check and look back. I might be wrong here, but this actually includes funding for 2 of the officers to have advanced training so that they can be kind of like in a position to do, train the trainer kind of thing. This funding really unlocks a lot of really critical training. When an officer comes on the scene and they're in the know about recovery, like what Officer Schneider's doing, Mr. Colmer before him, that's a big difference, right? So we are unanimously behind this proposal. I want to thank Ms. Fulton, Ms. Amy, and Mark Eccles for putting time and effort and energy into putting this together. And we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Katie?
Where is the training done, and what agency or person does it?
So the name of the agency is CABLE, and I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's like the Connecticut Training folks.
Alliance to Benefit Law Enforcement.
There it is. It's that one right there. And I believe it's an off-site training course that's up in like the New Britain area.
Oh, okay.
But it sounded like there may be opportunities for the trainer to come down to the police station.
Yeah.
Having this funding available allows them to sort of start the conversation about how to, schedule and, in the locations and stuff like that. It basically unlocks, that negotiation to start happening.
Great, thank you.
Chris?
So if I heard you correctly, it sounds like the PD has already had some of this training, just not everybody. So, and if they've been trained under this, the training that's happened already, is it the same curriculum, same trainers?
Yes, sir.
We're just expanding that?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Tony or Amy? Great. Thank you, Tony.
Good idea.
Thank you, Amy.
Yep.
Appreciate it very
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Okay. Next is, first of all, I want to thank the public so far that have given tremendous outpouring for our hurricane relief for those people in Western North Carolina. We still are taking in donations, both at the Social Services Department and in all of our departments here, buildings. There are boxes available. The last day for that will be Friday, and then we'll be scheduling sometime next week to begin the process of moving the donations into Western North Carolina. I did speak with, pull up the thing here I have. Some of the government officials from Asheville, North Carolina, and what they're basically saying now is they have a tremendous amount of donations from around the country. What they're going to be looking for next is more of monetary donations so that they can help spur economic vitality in their own area by purchasing goods, lumber, and things locally. So we're going to be posting on our sites tomorrow. There's ones that you can donate here with the town. There's a donate button, or if you want to give directly to North Carolina, you can do so. It's called VOPA, that basically they vetted out all of these nonprofits. And once you give to them, they'll separate that out and give those to those guys directly as well. So it's just a great thing to see our town being part of this effort to help those in need in North Carolina. And some of the towns like Chimney Rock, they're gone. I mean, it's not even a town anymore. So some of these people have lost everything from jobs to homes to all of that and more. And down there, as we're experiencing a hard frost tonight and tomorrow, they're experiencing similar things to us as well, because they're up in the mountain areas. So anything we can do to help them would be a tremendous thing. So again, thank you to all those people that have given already and continue to give.
Mayor,
Yes,
could I make a plea,
absolutely.
since it's going to end on Friday?
Yep.
I'd just like the general public to know that the Rotary Club and United Way are collaborating on putting together enough to send down there for women, period pads and tampons. That doesn't come up very often. However, there are lots of women that need this, and they have, they can't get to stores, etc. So if you would like to donate a box, whatever you can, if you could drop it off at social services or up here at the mayor's office, and we'll put it all together. We have quite a bit now. We'll put it all together for Friday. Thank you.
Moving on to police statistics, and speaking with Chief Cerruto today. As we all know, our goal is to reduce speed, vehicle, accidents, and it's great to see that our U.S. Senator now has decided to come on board and help when it comes to, deaths on the roadways. I know the Connecticut police are also working diligently on this as well, and they're basing their success on reduction of fatalities on the roadway. So with that in mind, statistics so far for New Milford motor vehicle stops. This past week we did 59 stops. In a year to date, so far this year, we've done 2,914. Last year we did 1,760, the same time last year. That's an increase of 1,154, or 66% increase. Motor vehicle accidents last year and this year is 711, with 105 being in parking lots. Year to date in 2023 was 685, which is 109 parking lots. That's an increase of 26, or about 3.5%. We don't want to see any increases, but we did kind of forecast looking at this would be an increase this year due to the new drivers that came on and new people moving into our area. Motor vehicle deaths this year, and one is too many. We've had 2. Comparative in the year 2023, we had 5 unfortunate fatalities. So the fatalities are down, which is very important. We love to see those at 0, and we are going to continue to address traffic enforcement, also education, and also giving out like free vests, as we've given out to those pedestrians that are walking on our roadways. We continue with our sidewalk build out. Starting on Sullivan Route 7 intersection. Now it's all the way down to Candlewood Condos. They're continuing that build out by pouring concrete and building the structure for the sidewalk. Once that's completed, they will, depending on the weather, may stop, and then the next phase will be phase 2, will be Three Brothers down towards Pettibone, and then the third stage will be Canterbury School coming down into the downtown. Also, the traffic audit, the Public Works received the draft of the traffic audit. They've put in their comments, they've given them back to the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Once they finalize the audit, we'll be bringing it to the council. We'll be talking about it, presenting it here, and that's when we get it back from the Connecticut Department of Transportation. We also continue to ask our residents to be diligent and to make sure when they're out on the roads that they obey the speed limit, they do the safety. It's all about being self-responsible as well, and also continuing to notify our residents about bus safeties. We do have school buses that do stop along Route 7, 202 are major arteries, Grove Street, as we talk about when we talk about it here, and then obviously wherever we can. If the bus lights are red and you are behind the bus, you are to stop at all times. If you're traveling in the opposite direction, if there's a median between you and the bus going the opposite direction, you don't have to stop. If there is no median, then you must stop. If you don't, and the New Milford police are there, you will get a ticket. It's a $400 ticket. Second one's $1,000. Third one could be jail time. So you just want to make sure and be cognizant as you can for traffic safety. It's paramount and of importance. On our infrastructure that we have going on, we continue to work on the following roads. Gaylord's Road, they were putting in curbing. Hillendale Drive and the extension, they were doing the binder work. Legion Road, they continue with drainage work on Legion, and then they'll be going to the binder and then the pave. Waller and Mind Hill, Jack, I believe the punch items, have they been, punch list has been completed?
Yeah, they've been punch list. Yeah.
Okay. And then looking at some of the bridge work that we have going on. Marial Road, the deck beams have been installed, preparing for the deck pour, and that bridge is scheduled to be completed in November. End of November has been the timeline. And Jack, I believe that's still on task for end of November?
In fact, they'll be working Saturdays now to make sure they meet that deadline.
And bridges set up for the year 25. Brookside Avenue, permits have been received. We're finalizing construction documents for bidding. Van Car Road, which will be in 2025. And Inland Wetlands has approved that, and moving on to a design. Sand Road, Inland Wetlands approved, they're reviewing the bids. Wheaton Road, which will be done in the year 2026, is at 30% design. And then we're working on additional bridge projects for the year 2027 and greater. As we all know, we have, Jack, 64 bridges, is it?
There's a number between 64 and 69. Depends on
Bridges that we have in New Milford. So it's important that we put these on an actual timeline, which our DPW crew is doing, and thank you, Jack. The safety improvement projects is the school zones came in a little higher than we anticipated, so Jack and his team is looking at seeing if there's some ways that our team could do some part of the installation, reducing the cost, so that we can get these within budget. So we'll be talking to the town council at the next meeting about where we are with that. Grove Street intersection study is a KSE. They're working on the final design, and they completed the survey. So if you saw some people out on Grove Street, I know there's some on social media like, what are they doing? They were assessing and doing the survey. The East Street intersection redesign, it's been going on for a few years. That's where we're going to be putting the left-hand turn lane right there on East Street and Second Hill and also Elm, right, Jack?
Yep.
And we're finalizing the design with the state of Connecticut, and they're going to be reviewing that. And then the Wellsville reconstruction, that's where we're going to be doing a full reconstruction with drainage on Wellsville and new sidewalks. We're using a LOTSIP grant for that. That is, the draft plans have been reviewed by Westcog, right, Jack? And they're going to get back to you, you're figuring by mid-November?
Yes.
Okay. And then moving on to a bridge that I know is near and dear, Katie, to you and to a lot of people here in town, is the Boardman Bridge. And where are we with that? We had given some ARPA money to do an assessment on the bridge. And Jack, I believe we got the assessment back, And the amount was about how much they suggested to make it a walkable bridge again?
$3.8 million.
$3.8 million. But here's the good news. We talked to Westcog, and this bridge is one of 3 bridges is eligible for a LOTSIP grant. LOTSIP grant can pay almost 100% of this. So I know Jack and his team are preparing this so that the opportunity is to get the grant and get to work on the Boardman Bridge. So we'll have more information as we continue to look for that. It'll be a great project. Let's see if I'm leaving anything out. Jack, am I leaving anything out?
I don't know if you want to talk about the PD.
What's that? Yep, that's gonna be my next thing.
Okay.
But I was going on any other projects. The dam, you're working with the engineers and the design on the
Yeah,
reservoir dam, right?
Yeah, the they're looking at that. We're probably about 50% design on that. Looking at the FEMA floodplains, we have to make an adjustment. The adjustment will be that the toe of the dam on the back will have to go further out. They need more material back there to support the dam. We're trying to keep it no higher than 40 feet in elevation. Also, we're working on designing so that if you go up to one of the structures, you'll see the valve. That's a valve box. The valve box is like 38 feet down the ground. We don't want anybody going down there, so we're working on design to bring the valve box to the surface so that you no longer have to do that. But they're about, and so we're working with them right now on that.
Thank you, Jack. And then lastly, Jack had kind of gave kind of the segue to it, is the police station and drainage work. For those that drive down Route 202, you've noticed, especially during bad storms, the water tends to blow out, leaving material, rock, and everything on the road. Connecticut DOT had informed Jack that moving forward, that it's the town's responsibility to make sure that that drainage, which comes across town property, is completed and done. We are now in October. We're going into a hard frost. Up in New Hampshire, they had snow. And the reason why I bring up this inclement weather,
Mount Washington.
Yep.
There's a big difference.
I know. But you're still seeing that we are getting some inclement weather into the Northeast. And the reason why I bring that up is in speaking with Jack to expedite the process so that they can get the proper drainage. Because what we don't want to have happen is having a storm that could have, the rains that we're getting now are substantial. We could get a major rainstorm that, with the weather being cold like tonight, it's going to be in the low 40s, where we could get icing on that road, and that could cause accidents, as it has in the past. So with Joe's help and Randy DeBellis, I signed an executive order today to allow Jack and the DPW team to expedite the drainage work on that process for Route 7 so that it's safe for those who will be driving on that road in the winter. Jack, could you talk a little bit about that work, please?
Yeah, we have a design. There's a drainage swale, living on underground pipe between the PD and the construction in that very narrow area. It's relatively
Jack,
deep.
could you come up to the microphone so those that are watching tonight can hear you?
Anyway, the pipe is relatively deep. There's an old structure there. The structure's not adequate. So when the water comes down, it hits that structure and it pops up, and that's what you see coming down the road. So what we've had designed, we've had it surveyed by an engineering company. They've done the calculations, and we can design that to meet the adequate storm capacity. I've talked to DOT. There's a part that we will have to extend. If you know that pond in the front, we have to extend part of the drainage into the state's drainage system. I've talked to DOT. They said if the mayor signs this executive order tomorrow, I send them a form. They'll give us approval immediately to make that connection. We're just concerned that this has gone on for a long time, and that I told the mayor I'm concerned that even in good weather, when that storm happens, if somebody comes down afterward on a motorcycle or a car, you hit that gravel.
Right.
There's a reason I don't drive a motorcycle. And
Lots of good
so
reasons.
I'm just concerned that we're working on it with the inland wetlands, but we want to get that done. I've talked to Chuck. We would go out immediately, get somebody, a contractor. It's not something that I feel, we were up there last week, I'm not comfortable with the depth that I would want our public works department to do it. And we're going to need trench boxes and deep stuff. I'm not comfortable with us doing it. I want a contractor who does this for, that's what they do. So we'll get up there, start tomorrow, get a contractor to fix this.
Jeff, how does this affect the driveway?
No, it's on the other,
It's up-
it's on the other end from the PD. It's toward that condo complex that they're building.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought, between the two.
Yeah,
right?
it's that little narrow spot.
But equipment and everything else that's gonna be needed.
We can come up off of 202 and come up the front. We're gonna dig out, we're gonna excavate the sedimentation pond probably has an extra 18 inches of material in it over the years just in there, so we're gonna clean that out. So we'll come up the front and work on that from that direction.
Okay. It's kind of
Mary
steep.
Jane?
What is going on with that apartment complex? Do we know? Like, I mean, it was like
I-
empty for a while and nothing was
Mary
happening.
Jane, I wish I knew. We've left a couple messages for the developer, but it's a private development and
So
haven't heard anything.
somebody said the doors were all left open and like the place is starting
The
to mold
sliding
up.
doors, interesting you say that, I noticed several weeks back, and then they were closed. Because,
Yeah.
there was kind of rain.
But, yeah, but I guess there's a lot of other doors in there that were just, and windows that
I
were
just
left
go by the
open
ones I can
and,
see. Yeah.
so, what, I mean,
Sad.
And I'm not
it's gross.
I'm not
You know
privy
what?
to that work. That's a private development and
It is a gross
can-
development.
yeah, they
It's
can
totally
tell us
gross.
and then they have the right not to tell us too, so I'll put another call in.
I know, it's
Chris?
eyesore.
Yeah, back on this topic. I'm fully supportive of what you're doing. I totally understand it's necessary. Roughly, what's the cost and where is it coming from?
We gave the mayor, initially gave him an estimate about 70. I think it's actually going to be probably a little more than that. So we updated the estimate to the mayor today, $85,000. And we came up with that, Chris. We just finished the drainage project up on Upland Road in that Hunt Hill Farm area, and that was comparable. And we started at 57, but we have some extra cost on that. So we looked at that, compared it to what came up. We updated to the mayor today of 85, we thought.
I'm assuming it wasn't budgeted, so
Not budgeted.
contingency or?
So we'd be looking at first seeing the highway construction funds we have. But that is going to be used up very quickly with all this drainage work we have.
Yep.
So more than likely we'll be coming back to the council at some time at a capital reserve for the drainage work that we're doing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is what it is. It's gotta
Yeah,
get
is
fixed.
that,
I have another question. Do you have an update on that water break or whatever happened with Pleasant View? They said,
the water break?
yeah, I don't know if there was a.
It wasn't so much as a water break, it was a discoloration of the water. So they were remediating that. I don't know any more than that.
There was
I just
like
get,
low
I just,
pressure or something.
Mary Jane, I just get an alert,
Yeah.
so that's what I push out. But I'll ask them if they can give us some more information.
Yeah, I just wonder what, those people are doing, because they said it was gonna be 6 or 8 hours
yeah.
on that notice that
Yeah.
came out, which is kind of a long time to,
It is.
in a house to have not had water.
Right.
Any other questions so far? What's that? Oh, sorry. And lastly, just a couple of quick things as far as events going on. John Pettibone Scholarship, a 75th anniversary is this Thursday, tomorrow, at Housatonic. Thursday, that's right, today's Tuesday. Housatonic River Brewery, the Pop Rocks will be playing. Then on Saturday or Friday night, you have the Haunted Trail. You have the Farmers Market on Saturday. And the Milford Family Fest Community Connections at Pettibone. Katie, can you talk a little bit about what's going on there?
Yes, the family festival, whatever you want to call it, will be at Pettibone on Saturday from 10 to 1. This is a United Way event that they do in Danbury. And it's to encourage people who are new to town or are not aware of a lot of resources that are here. So we have representatives from the police department, the fire department, literacy volunteers, the library, youth agency, Village Center for the Arts, and a lot of multilingual speakers will be there. And we'll also have the health department come to do some vaccinations if people need them. So I'm glad you asked about it, Mayor, because it is Saturday and we still have room. You'll have breakfast and we've got some games for the kids, pumpkin decorating. If you listening to this, if you know anybody who is maybe new to town, or hasn't been able or want to go to social services, but you'd like to know about some of the things that we can do to help you, if you just come there, no cost, just come on in. It's at Pettibone, walk right into the cafeteria. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Also have the same day, which is Saturday from noon to 4, Candlelight Farms is the Forest Fairy Tale Festival. We have also at the VFW from 10 to 4, the Fall Craft Fair. And then on the 23rd of October from 5:30 to 7 at the Max, the Milford High School Key Club is doing a movie for the kids. It's called The Nightmare Before Christmas. They're doing. So,
Nightmare
then we
Before
have,
Christmas?
yeah. Then on the 26th from 10 a.m. to 3, we have Halloween on the Green. And then 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Trunk or Treat. And then we have a breakfast on November 11th for veterans. And then Chris, a quick plug for Litchfield Irish Club. You guys are hosting a Thanksgiving dinner for veterans?
Correct, yes.
What's the date?
It's November 17th, from noon to 6, a Thanksgiving dinner for veterans. It's free to veterans and a +1. It's at the Milford VFW, and it's sponsored by the Litchfield County Irish American Club. If you want to donate towards that, there's 3 local restaurants, Italiania, Coliseos, and the Abbey. You can purchase leaves for $5 each, put your name up on the wall, and those funds will go not only towards this dinner, but also towards Wreaths Across America, which Katie is part of. We intend to fully work with the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Litchfield County Irish American Club to make sure that, I think for the first time, that every veteran's grave at St. Francis Cemetery is covered for that event.
That's awesome. Thank you, Chris. And before I end Mayor's comments, I know that Coach Tony and Amy were here tonight. Not on the agenda for the appropriation, but I think we've heard of the need. I'd like to entertain a motion if we could, or if you guys would like us to wait until the next town council meeting, but to appropriate the $10,000 for the CIT training for the New Milford Police Department as recommended by the committee.
I'd like to make a motion, Mayor, that we approve the CIT training that was mentioned by Tony.
Yep, we have to add it to the agenda.
I'm sorry.
Rules, right?
I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda, item number 6A.
Second?
Thank you. I always forget.
Any
Okay.
discussion on adding to the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Okay, now, I'd like to move that we approve the CIT training for the New Milford Police Department, all officers +2, that we get advanced training, everything that Tony and Amy had to say, and the total for that would be $10,000
Coming out of the opioid settlement.
out of the opioid
account.
settlement account.
Second.
Any discussion?
We just want to make sure that Tony and Amy don't want to come back for the next meeting.
We love to see you.
Yeah.
So, who seconded?
Okay,
Bob?
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay. Any discussion? Alex?
I just want to say that was one of my concerns, was when our designated officer is not available, which will frequently be when people need help. And this is going to address that. So I'm really grateful that's come as quickly as it has. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Before you move on, Mr. Mayor, can I
Yes.
ask Katie a question? Katie, about the United Way on Saturday, how do people new to town who don't know what's available, how do they find out that's available?
Well, some of the people that work in Danbury and know the community messengers in Danbury, they reached out and talked to a lot of people. And there have been flyers at social services. I go down there and talk to them on Food Bank Day, et cetera.
But you referenced that some people don't go to social services yet, so this is an event to
No, it's not
help
that they
them.
don't go there for food. They may not be involved in any programs. You can still belong to the food bank, and you can still sign up and get some food. But there are other resources in our town that they wouldn't know about. And I would be safe saying that there are a lot of people who live here and for a long time and they don't know about all the resources that are there. So literacy volunteers will be there, as I said, the library, youth agency, Village Center for the Arts, fire department, liaison from the police department, I don't know.
And
who else.
Is it on the website?
And if I could, Alex, too, I believe all of the
It's on the United
agencies
Way website.
are also pushing that on their social sites as well.
Right.
And the flyers, are they in places like?
It's a United Way program, so I don't have it on the town website. No, I wouldn't do that. That's up to the mayor. But the flyers have been in here and been at doctor's offices and laundromats. I had one of my colleagues from Danbury, who's trilingual. We drove around one day and went to places where I could say hola and that's about it. So, but I wanted the people there to know, and we found a great reception that they thought it was a great idea. It's just to bring people together. It works in Danbury, and the community messengers, what they do is these are members of the community that they meet, I think, around once a month, maybe every 6 weeks or whatever, and they bring to their group what's the temperature of the town, what's going on with people. These could be immigrants, these could be moms who are desperate, or people who have lost their home. It could just be people who want to know, where can I send my kid that doesn't cost me $500 a week, things like that. So we want to move that particular part of this program up here. We already have Cora's Kids, which is home daycare providers, and in New Milford we have 7 people. And what they are home daycare people, and we train them, and they get approved by the state. We give them some funding to get their place of business together. And roughly, like if they could bring in 4 kids, 2 of those children the family should pay a lesser amount because they're Alice, they're struggling. So we want to bring, New Milford is getting larger, bless you. We have a lot of new families coming into town, and I think it's wise that what we're doing, it's very successful in Danbury, and there are people who live here but work in Danbury, and they go to their meetings, so why not have it here? So that's what we are. You're welcome to stop down if you like and say hello.
Next is Public Works. Jack, if you could come up and talk about the Sand Road project.
I think you have a resolution before
Yep.
you tonight because we need a small easement on one side of the road. But the bridge is actually designed. It's going to be a total replacement of the bridge. We've gone out. We have our inspector selected. It's AI engineers who did the Upland Road Bridge. The contractor right now, we had the bids come in last Thursday. We're evaluating them. DOT had estimated the price at being, I think, $2,250,000. Our bids are a little bit less than that. We're right in the range. We've got 5 bids, probably within a few thousand dollars of that, so we have very good bids on that.
Jack, just for the council and those watching, what kind of financing, for a better term, are we using for this bridge?
It's 80% federal, 20% state, so it's 100% not to the town, the state and federal money, it's 100%. And that includes the design and the inspection. So the only thing that the town's is investing is Chuck's and my time. We go out and meet with them. So
It's a great job using those strategies to get a bridge that really the town doesn't have to spend budgetary dollars.
the bridges you mentioned, Upland Road was 100%. I think that came out pretty good. Also, Van Car is 100% funded, and Wheaton Road are also 100% funded. So we're trying to get the infrastructure in place. We are assessing our bridges. We also, you will see in the next, over the next course of next year, I've tasked the highway department crew to go out and perform maintenance, including trimming, cutting, removing debris around the road, the bridges. That way, so that there will be no grass or trees or things. Also, we've been inspecting them. We have a intern who went out and that's why Mayor, 64 to 65 bridges. She got them on a spreadsheet. She went out and I asked her to evaluate all the surface of the bridge, not to go underneath them. I said, let's start with the top. We will now start very shortly doing, this weather's been great for us, go out and do scour evaluation on all the bridges to make sure that we don't have scour issues on each one of those. We are also working right now with DOT, something that I did previously, both Litchfield and Berlin. There's money there available if you want to put together a couple of bridges to do what they call a maintenance project. Instead of waiting until you got to spend $5 million on a bridge, you can ask for $500,000 or so to do a couple of bridges, and they'll come. You can do the you can do the surface, do a new membrane, do some rehabilitation on bridges. So you don't have to go with wait. I've talked to Mark Burns at the state. He said if the town puts, we're looking at 3 bridges right now in the town to go for maintenance money on. To extend their lives, so we don't have to go do a full replacement on any of those bridges. That's what we're trying to do. So on Sand Road, that bridge needs to be replaced. We had a public session in March of 2023, and we had pictures of the underside of the bridge. There are beams under there that are the web is pretty much rusted through. It's safe to drive on, but if you've noticed, it's derated. And so we want to have it replaced. That is scheduled. We will issue a contract hopefully on that by the end of November, early December to the contractor. They can go ahead and purchase the materials. It is scheduled to be done like we've been doing our bridges in one construction season, starting in I used to start on April 1st unless the weather is good and we start a little bit earlier. It must be done by the end of November so that we don't have winter traffic.
Alex?
Any thoughts to limiting weight more than it already is?
No, they've evaluated and they're very comfortable where the weight is right now. It's a good question.
For another half a year?
Half a year is fine.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Chris?
I thought I heard you mention the bridge has now been derated. Will the new bridge go back to the previous rating?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
One of the things, when you take federal or state money, and this is important, when we apply for the grants, we take those. We cannot design and build a bridge that does not meet design standards. Can't do it. They have to meet the state design standards. It's not that there's a law out there, but it's part of the agreement that we as a town sign when we accept the money. That's both for these 80-20 bridges and also for the 50-50 bridges that we do. The Brookside Bridge will be a 50-50 bridge. Currently, Mary Hall is a 50-50 bridge. So, but we have to design and meet the standards as far as width, length. If you notice now, like the Mary Hall Bridge is much longer than previously. That's because you have to go 1.2 times the bank width and 2 feet above the high water mark. Now, there was interesting in the articles that in the Water Republican after the unfortunate floods that happened in Oxford and Newtown. I've been talking to the mayor about this resiliency. I just call it good preventive maintenance. But anyway, if you read the articles, many of these towns, the bridges withstood the storm. The roads may have not, but the bridges stood up. Those were the ones that have been designed to the current standards. That's why we build these the way we do. So as we go forward, the bridges will be more substantial. We will try to make them look as appealing. Or once it's above the water, we can modify the rails and stuff like that. What's up to the water line, we really, it's pretty much a cookie cutter. This is what you do.
Great. And then Jack, could you talk why we're signing the Sand Road Bridge resolution?
We have to do a small taking, and it's a town property. We need it on the side for drainage and moving of a couple of the poles.
So this is town property. We're not taking anybody's private property.
Not on this
for the
no.
town.
We are working with the state is currently working with one of the residents. We had the inland wetlands meeting, and they will continue to negotiate with the resident. There's on the, I think it's the west side, at the Long Mountain end of the bridge, that we have there's a spot there that we need to get an easement from them, so they're working with them. The state When we do these bridges in this way, the state steps in and does the negotiation for us.
But the one we're signing tonight is for town property.
Yes, it is. It's for town property.
And that's gonna be an easement to the state.
Correct. Does anybody have any questions on the signing of the Sand Bridge Road resolution? To make a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to move that we all sign this resolution for Sand Road Bridge with to authorize the mayor to accept the sum of $1,700 and execute any and all documents necessary to complete the transaction and transfer the interest described in the compensation analysis.
Second?
Second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone. And there's something to sign. We'll pass it along. Thank you, Jack.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Moving on, yes, item 8A. I'd like to move that we approve the appropriation of $79,118.04 for fire truck apparatus radios for the Water Witch Hose Fire Department, and there's some documents in the packets.
Second?
Thank you, Chris.
And a second from Chris. John, could you come up and talk a little bit about the needs for the fire truck apparatus radios?
Good evening. Thank you guys for having me. Tonight we're coming before the council to ask for appropriation for $79,000 for mobile radios. Those are the radios that go in the apparatus, in each of the apparatus as we go to the scenes. These radios currently, we have older radios which are not able to be digitalized. Currently, Brookfield, who is our largest mutual aid company, is going to be changing over to a digital programming system and going to P25, what's called P25. So if we think about it this way, you have, it's like kind of having radio stations, right? You have your AM, your XM, and then your Sirius radio. This is pretty much the same thing. It's called a tri-band radio, which will take care of VHF, UHF, as well as 800 radios. The 800 radio system is a state interoperability radio system. You guys might see the actual radios kicking around at the mayor's office with emergency management. These are digitalized radios that actually, if I turn it on here, I can talk to somebody across the state. This system is a statewide program to help for interoperability. A lot of our mutual aid is now going farther and farther out, or coming farther, or coming closer and closer to us. So in this situation, we're able to actually talk to them at a farther distance. We can't talk to them on our radio if they're coming in from New Hartford or Torrington. They can't hit our towers. So it's all about interoperability and making sure that the lines of communication are there, especially for larger incidences, storms, different things like that. Ironically enough, the first time that they rolled out the 800 radio system was during the COVID pandemic for EMDs to talk to each other in group settings to see and vet the actual system. So each one of our trucks will have a tri-band radio system that will be able to talk to all the departments in town. We'll be able to talk to other departments outside of town, like Danbury Fire. When we go mutual aid to Danbury, or Danbury comes in, we'll be able to talk to Danbury Fire off of these radios. We'll also be able to talk and switch in case of large-scale incidences in town or out of town where we're mobilized to talk to those responding or us responding to a different location. So those are our what are called tri-band radios. They are the top of the line radio. This is what everybody is going towards, and pretty much everybody is going at right now, so that you have all three capabilities.
Great.
Mayor?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to ask a question. This says a Water Witch Fire Department.
Yes, Water Witch Hose Company.
That's 9 Prospect Hill,
8 Prospect Hill, yep.
wrong side, okay. What about Lanesville, Northville, in Gaylordsville Fire Department, are they included?
No, this is for the 12, this is for our 11 apparatus, our 11 pieces of apparatus for Waterwitch Hose Company, which is the one, station here as well as Lanesville. Okay,
Okay.
so all of our radios for the firehouse, because Lanesville is Waterwitch, that's just a substation. So all of our apparatus in both of those firehouses will be covered. We actually already purchased, right after the high school fire, we purchased one of these through our fundraising efforts to put in 20, our command vehicle. And that cost us about $10,800 to put in, okay? When you ask for more, you get it at a little bit better price, obviously. This is going off the state Motorola bid package, okay? So for Gaylordsville already has these through the ARPA funds that they received already, as well as Northville has portable radios with their officers that have tri-band capability. But when you look at where everybody goes, Gaylordsville will need tri-band because they go over into New York and they're using a different radio frequency, that FM radio frequency like we're talking about, okay? When we go more south, Southbury, Newtown, Danbury, we're going down, and to Brookfield, we're going down south. So Northville will be going up north a little more. So they have a little bit better opportunity because LCD is still on the regular system. There is digital opportunity. There's also 800 opportunity, so that's why they got the 800 radios. So we're all getting in line. Also, the ambulance corps. Everybody's trying to get in line and trying to make this so that it is linear. And we actually sat here with the ambulance, the fire departments, as well as the police department to make sure that our plan is all linear, that we're all running in the same direction, and that we're putting this together so that this package is one whole symbiotic, that we can all talk to each other and not one different entity is doing something different that can't talk to each other.
And Mayor, you just posed a great question, which was, these radios, these are for Waterwitch. What about the other departments, right? And their needs. So we sit down at least once a month and meet with all the chiefs of all the fire, chiefs of ambulance, and our police chief, and what are the needs. Communications is going to be a very big item that's going to affect the Milford moving forward. Some of these are aging out and whatnot. So you posed a great question at the last town meeting we had, is the ARPA money, where are we at? And as I expressed before, this is repurposed ARPA money. So this isn't like found money. This was money that was the youth agency had given back to the town, and we're repurposing that. So we had 163,000. The town meeting just approved 72,866. That left 90,134,000. If approved tonight, the 79,118.04 leaves 11,000. I apologize, that was 13. That was 13. It's 11. So it's 11,000, 16,000 left. But we're going through all of the tranches that were approved to see after the purchases, is there any money left over? Is there any money that those appropriations, maybe they don't need to use all of it? If they don't, we're gonna come back and repurpose it. I do mention that, Mayor, is there's also additional needs with the other fire departments and ambulances. They're gonna be requesting communications work as well, communications gear as well. That we'll be bringing forward as we get appropriations for reappropriating ARPA money.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So any questions? Alex?
We're running out of time to spend it, correct? Or to allocate?
To allocate,
I lost track.
so for the personnel, yes, that would be to the end of the year. You have another 2 years if it's capital. You have another 2 years to do that,
To spend it or allocate?
to spend it. Yes. Any other, Chris?
And what's the the life expectancy of these radios?
I'd like to tell you that I knew, but I don't. The apparatus that we have right now, some of the apparatus are 20 and 25 years old and still have the Motorola 2250s, which are obsolete. These have a lot more software upgrades. So as we continue to move forward, we will be upgrading the software. The digital, the 800 band, actually every time you turn it on, it will go through an upgrading. If anybody has added a station or different things, it hits the satellite, it talks to itself, and it runs through its upgrades. So I think that we are setting ourselves up for something that we're not going to be coming back next year and saying, hey guys, we're out of it. But I don't know is it 10 years? Is it 15 years? I hope it's going to be 15 to 20 years. But there
You
is.
expect at least 10?
I expect at least 10. I think, here's the thing, with our system the way it is right now, we can use that. That's easy. The P25 is a digital system. Nobody else is, if you go to P25 and you're digitalized, well, you're at P25. I mean, to go by what Brookfield just did, it's almost $2.5 million worth of upgrades to their whole system. So they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So that capability of talking to them is going to be there. Capability of talking to New York is always there because we're on that different wavelength, as well as Danbury is not going. And then if some people do decide to switch over to that 800, we still have the 800 capability. So it's lining us up. Those are the only 3 channels that they can go to. So it's lining everybody up to figure out which one. We are in a very, very precarious situation here in New Milford. We have our own PSAP system, which is our public service dispatch, right? We are surrounded by different dispatches. We have LCD to the north, we have Brookfield, we have Northwest, which covers Roxbury, and then all the way down to the valley. We have Newtown, we have Danbury. So as people make their decisions, we have to kind of work with their decisions as well to make sure we have interoperability.
But the only decision anybody can make is one of these 3.
One of these 3, that's it.
Nobody's left out.
There's no other option.
Okay, good.
That's good.
Any other questions, comments? Mary Jo?
And this fits into the COVID restrictions, requirements,
Yes.
and everything.
Yes, ma'am. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. Item 8B, I'd like to move that we appropriate the amount of $12,195 for an audio.
And Jason, I'm sorry, Kate, Jason will be here to talk about it, but this would be, if approved by council, this would be coming out of our surplus,
Okay.
not out of our.
So
Put
it's-
that down.
All right, it's under, yeah, okay. So it's $12,195 for an audio sound system enhancement for the MAX. The funding to come from,
Town surplus.
surplus. Do I have a
Jason, can you come up?
Second.
Could you come up and talk about the sound system for the MAX and how that's helpful for the programs that you have going on?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for hearing this proposal and what we're trying to do down there at that teen center. Currently, that system is anywhere between 25 to 30 years old of donated equipment. And there's 10 speakers that are town down there. 2 of them work, 1 is blown out. So it kind of is tough to work with what we're going through in the expansion of additional teen bands, really coming out of COVID as well, of getting more people inclined to group meeting again, live events. Just this weekend we had live bands there again. So this is a very necessary request. And the bid we have, the gentleman grew up going to shows at the MAX when he was a teen. So about 20 years ago, when he was listening to the same equipment there, he saw value in what live events are for kids, because one of our current renters who comes back and back to rent the MAX, he met with myself and another colleague saying that there's no place for kids to play live music outside of bars. And they want to be substance free. They don't want to have to deal with that kind of climate. So we started working, and that's kind of where we've been navigating. However, we're 25 to 30 years behind in this. And a lot of even, people who want to DJ there, they set up, they're all complete. What this allows us to do is to help out those live events, as well as keeping the feasibility of the 5-year-old birthday party. And the reason why I bring that up is when those birthday parties have issues troubleshooting the sound system, it's me going down on the weekends to fix the wires, you name it. This will allow us to have a touch screen. It's protected. All the guts will be behind the wall. And so it's just going to be extremely accessible for your anywhere from a 5-year-old's birthday party to a live band event. And going back to the individual who we're working with, or we would hope to work with, he's donating $11,000 worth of speakers. That includes 2 highs, 2 lows, as well as 3 amps. When I was working with the mayor and collecting bids, the closest local bid is around $19,000, and that does not include the necessary electrical upgrade as well as construction to the stage. And then another bid came in at $25,000 just for the speaker equipment alone. So again, the need is there, the support is there from the music community. And so what that $12,195 gets us is $8,245 is for the sound, audio, and wireless mic system. $2,450 with Shock Electric to enhance, to allow this system to go in. And then $1,500 for New Milford Facilities to help with the construction, wiring. So there will be some, in-house working. For that total of $12,195, which, again, the other bids were coming out above $20K just for the sound system alone.
And Jason, given the financial numbers, great, so the council could see that, there's some really give-me's that this particular person who's bid on this and came from the youth agency. But also, if you let the council and those in the public and watching tonight as well know, is what would this new equipment allow the youth agency through having dances, having concerts there? I know a big thing, we're talking about children, mental health.
Yep.
When we went through, I know you and I have talked about this extensively, when you had the total shutdown of the school, then we went to hybrid learning. A lot of these kids still face isolation, learning to really network with one another again. What does this allow you guys to do down there?
So there was conversations about the youth agency, relinquishing that COVID money to give it back for allocations. However, as the mayor is talking about, there's still need for other projects to help defeat that, whether it's the isolation or improve the connectivity between our youth and families. This allows us to enhance our teen dances that we run about every other month with the Scotticoke Middle School PTO. That's an extreme big fundraiser for those schools and for those grades that allows them to continue doing and supporting their students. Again, without this equipment, live bands, they're bringing all their stuff in, and it's a hassle for them to look at venues that aren't set up for live music. And I'm in constant conversations with those vendors on how do we keep this friendly, how do we keep this team safe. And that's been another initiative the mayor, myself, student advisory board have been looking at, is offering teen nights, free and very subsidized, so teens can go out and have in adolescence a safe place in Connecticut or in New Milford. So really, Mayor, it's about looking at those kind of originally this possibly could have been the ARPA, so it was looking at what was the core reasons of doing this, and it was to increase that socialization between our youth while enhancing the teen center. So again, it's going to help out the birthday parties, the receptions, the Key Club, going down and watching that movie. To stream a movie down there right now, I will have to go down there and help them and just troubleshoot it, and then I still won't feel comfortable knowing that it's not going to maybe shut off on them. And for those student opportunities like the Key Club, they don't pay for the building. So that Key Club can come down there as a teen organization with the high school, and they're having that fundraiser to put forth to their initiatives. But in order to do that, they have to have a working building. They have to have a working sound system. So that's available for those teens to use because it's a teen center. So it's really about the connective aspect for the students, Mary.
Thank you. Katie?
Jason, you still have rentals, people who rent it for various things other than, your dances that you have, right?
Yeah, so this last weekend we had 4 rentals. We had a birthday party, we had the live band night, we had the church rental on the Sunday morning, followed by another birthday party in that back room.
And I have to tell you that for many years, as you know, the Rotary used to go to the Max for
Correct.
lunch. And I can't thank you enough for wanting to put a new sound system in it because it's terrible. And I know what your next item might come before us soon, and that also could. But it is a place that is of the size and the location where when the kids are not there, that, as we rented it for lunch or during the week, that you can have people renting it, and that brings in some revenue for you. So I think you're very smart to do this.
Yeah,
this way.
and part of that, Katie, was to increase the mic system, to allow the wireless mic system for presentations, for learnings, for QPR trainings, Narcan trainings, whether there's workshops we're putting on, professional, FDIC was down there, this weekend, and I don't know if anyone attended that, but if you saw the mic cord, there's about 10 mic cords stranded together to get to that one mic for that gentleman. That's why I'm standing up here is again, it's been an amazing building, and a lot of that stuff has been donated to the youth agency, and so we're very thankful for that. But to do what we want to do, this would be amazing. Chris.
Jason, so this new system, it's going to be there all the time. So if there's an event, live band comes in, all they do is just plug in their instruments. And do we have to have somebody there to kind of turn it on, turn it off, or it's kind of a no-brainer?
It's contained, and so there's going to be levels to it in the sense it's Bluetooth connectivity or connection. So we will be able to unlock it via passcode for those individuals. So when you're going down there and hosting your event, when you rent it with Lois and myself, you're going to get the instructions on how to bing into the wall mount, get those instructions. For maybe more professional sound entities, live music, they will have access to the actual rack that can tie into the speakers for live music. That is all protected. That's the whole point. We're going to get essentially 4 working speakers to replace the decorative speakers right now.
Okay.
It's really what they are.
Just slightly off topic, but I'm really interested to hear that we've got youth bands.
Yes.
How many do we have in the area?
So this one, I think he's actually turning 20 now, so he's not a teenager anymore. But he came to me out of Bethel looking for this live music. And he's now gone into the promotion, and so he brings bands to the Max.
Okay.
And so he has about 6 or 7 bands under him. And so I think that just in itself shows that people are willing to travel, and if we're able to do it in a safe environment, sometimes the youth agency, if it's a new event, new bands, this gentleman was even a little nervous about hosting this and having this many kids, so the youth agency was able to get 2 police officers there. For safety, inside and out. And so we're able to even offer those opportunities. Because again, I learned from them there's really no place for this live music when you're in your teens.
Right.
Because they're not allowed in bars.
And I think for certain teens, that's an outlet.
Absolutely.
That you can't they just can't get it anywhere else. So I think it's a terrific
Yeah.
program. So yeah, great. Thank you.
Alex?
Yeah, hi Jason.
Alex.
Definitely worth the discussion. I too have been there with groups, and the projector is next on the list, I hope, because that really has issues as well. Okay, you don't have to say anything.
No,
We'll
no,
wait on it.
the mayor and I've already proposed working with IT and this current sound vendor to make sure that our projector is going to mesh perfectly with it. So you will probably see me here in a month or so discussing projector. Or the projector.
So, 2, I bet you're sorry you gave back all the ARPA money, because that would have been there. And 3, how's your current budget going? Are you looking at currently an even budget, ending in the black, surplus, etc.? And the reason I'm saying this is, could some of the money come out of your current working budget because you're in great shape and beyond, rather than have another surplus at the end of this year?
So with the youth agency, there's 3 organizations, and they're all on track to be on par. You know, the Max itself doesn't have the materials and supplies available for something like this. I would have to, you know, discuss with finance in the mayor's office on looking at either the youth agency offices and or our child care program, which you'd be pulling money from the child care program where we could use that money for the summer camp going into next year. So I guess to be frank, this would be a enhancement in capital that we're looking to get. We don't have a budget for it.
Because, you know, we were here before, the Max was always having money left, not budgeted, was not spent. So my question is there any?
Well,
Like you're
so
saying.
there's surplus in the sense that the Max makes money. It's
Right.
you know, it has low costs, so that money goes to the surplus. So that's when the mayor and I have had these conversations of proposing capital projects that could help with that revenue or go back to the children. And this project fits both those needs. You know, if the Max is going to make that revenue in that capital surplus, then how can we enhance the Max? And we did that already with the awning,
Right.
because the awning wasn't an awning. I know I talked to you guys about this a few months ago. It leaked on you. So it's putting that money back into the building to help the public get their worth out of it.
That's what I want to hear. The other is, with 70% of Connecticut's youth disengaged,
Mhm.
20 to 30% of the
25,
Milford youth
yeah.
disengaged, about that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is the perfect place to spend that money.
Correct. And you know, I know CCM presented last week with the Dahlia project on the disconnected youth,
Right.
and even Connecticut Youth Services Association, their annual conference this Friday, they're having the Dahlia consulting group come in and do a whole presentation on the disconnected youth. So it's a huge need because going back to Chris's comment, if we can support a music thirst in a kid, and he can go then maybe not into live music, but maybe he's into music theory and production, or he's doing the work that, you know, this individual is doing in marketing of sound pieces and items. It's offering that opportunity to connect them to actual opportunities to make money, because that's where that disconnection comes to. Is once they graduate, they're disconnected from the workforce and then from the state economy and the town economies.
Right.
So,
Awesome.
thank you.
Any discussion? Mayor?
I want to compliment Jason O'Connor, a Norfolk resident at one time, still is. And
Still is.
you've done fantastically on that project.
Thank you.
Max. And it's something the town's wanted quietly, and I think your previous person there, you know, pulled it up, started to grow, and you've made a real, I mean, it's outside. I don't think there's any place in the northwest corner that does what the youth agency does as well as you guys do.
Thank you, sir.
So keep it up,
Appreciate it.
and bon voyage.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jay. Item number 9, I'd like to move that we appropriate $60,200 to fund the Economic Development Administrator position. These are funds that will come from the contingency or any other line deemed appropriate by our town finance director.
Second.
Thank you, Chris. So this, the reason why I brought this to the council's attention, this was a position that was housed in economic development about 10 years or so ago. And with the growing of New Milford, what we're finding is that our land use personnel, Laura, Jim, and you have Sharon, are being overwhelmed. And the reason why they're being overwhelmed is we're asking them to do multiple tasks. We're asking them for a better sense to underwrite an application, make sure it complies within our zoning rules and regulations, and to then also shepherd that applicant through a process. And what happens is, especially with those new to New Milford that come in that may put in a half an application or maybe put it in and not doing it the proper way, it gums up the whole process, making it very time consuming, causing angst within people, which we don't want within our residents or business community. And this particular position would be first boots on the ground. So what they would be doing with the help of talking with our zoning department and our zoning commission, one of the first things we're doing is if you don't have a complete application anymore, they're going to kick your application out. So that means we'll have good, clean applications. But before we do that, we have what's called a DST meeting, which is a Department Services team. Basically, that's your land use personnel. It is also your fire marshal. It'll be, if it's a town road, it'll be your public works department, your building. So if you're coming in and you're doing any kind of, whether you're repurposing a building, building a new building, you're kind of listening from our personnel as to what you would need to do. It's not mandatory. So we have some people that decide they're not going to do this. They go down to zoning and it ends up creating more of a backlog. So moving forward with the zoning departments, we're going to be requiring that you do go through the DST meeting unless you can already have been doing business in New Milford in an expeditious, good way, and then Laura and those guys can sign off and create the waiver for that. What this position will be doing is helping those applicants from the initiation of the application throughout the whole process. So there'll be hand-holding there, letting them know. A lot of times also, as I've been looking at the process, is there are times where we're busy at land use and the applicant may think they've already fulfilled some of the requirements and they have not. And then it becomes kind of a miscommunication thing where they think they've done everything and they really haven't. This particular person would then be helping intimate, making sure the conditions are brought in a timely fashion so that the applications can move in a very efficient process. And they would be housed in economic development, so you wouldn't have, you'd have almost like a firewall between land use and economic development to help expedite that process. Mary
Do you
Jane?
have a job description for this?
I can send you the one that's already there. I apologize, Mary Jane, I'll send that to you.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. I'd like to see that.
So this 60,200 is for what time frame?
That'd be for the year.
For the year?
Yes, ma'am.
Beginning?
It would be beginning now.
Now.
Or you mean for the full year?
Well, I'm just.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. This would be for the annual year, from July to June 30th.
So you're proposing to put this person in the position now?
Yes,
And then we're going to see this position in the budget?
Correct.
Listed separately?
yes,
For 60,200 per year?
per year. So it'll be less this year,
Right.
but I wanted to put this there so you know in the budget next year, that's what this position would cost.
Okay, does this then allow Laura to be more of a town planner?
Yes.
Thank
Chris? And then Katie's.
Yeah, so I agree something is needed now, whether this is the answer or not, but I've also heard from a lot of people trying to get things through, it's really an arduous process. And I think you're right, communication is a big issue on why it's so arduous. Will we have some metrics on this person, whether it's kind of velocity on how fast things get through or how many things we get through so we can go back and find out that, yes, this was the solution, or if our metrics aren't any better, that
It's
maybe
a
this.
great question. We're going to be, for a better term, kind of a KPI situation
Yep,
where
yep.
we're going to see, as it is right now, for different types of applications, because they're all different, whether it's you're going to be building a building or putting in a renovation, right, of a building. There's different timeframes that are on average.
Yeah, right.
We're going to use those timeframes to start as your beta line, your trend line.
Right.
And then we're going to see with the new staff how much faster that process is going to be.
Okay.
And that'll be our metrics. So
Good.
we can see.
Good, okay.
And to your point, Chris, I remember when the DST was created, and it was a great thing, but things were less. There was less movement, less people coming in, less happening. It was when planning was really busy because there were a lot of developments being done. But what happened here is that, as Mayor said, there are people who are coming in with parts of things, and there are just not enough people with eyes on it to take care of it. And to me, this is something that we could do with somebody downstairs, but we're busy now, you know that. And so I also think that one of the biggest parts of bringing somebody like this in, just to, as you said, maybe handhold here, and of course, we want to see if expediting things in a reasonable way, I think, you know, we have to watch that it does work. But one of the things that happens with this now is that we have the public. You could take Joe Smith, who just wants to come and talk about putting a pool in, or getting a setback, or doing something with his driveway, and they're not always getting an answer right away, much less, they don't get it right away. And it's not to blame anybody, but you know, they're a very busy group. There's 3 people in there. So I think if for no other reason, having somebody that can speak before they get so angry that they're upstairs or they're writing a letter or they're online saying something terrible about our staff, that's worth it to try this. And I think it's like an expediter. It's a good thing to process that. I'm glad you have somebody in mind.
We'll be putting out the rep. And,
Okay. Good.
you know,
Perfect.
the goal would be to have this up and running by January.
Good.
Where
And
they're, you know, they've already, you know, the next 2 months is learning
Yeah.
our rules and regulations.
Good idea, yes.
Learning the system, the view permit system.
And the out-facing people, as you have said in the past, anybody who's in working for the town that talks to the public is, you know, really a very important role. You know that. We all bumped into people who don't have a good attitude, and so I think this is going to be a way to help smooth that over. And you're going to give us the description.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
I think this is a great idea, something been out there, but we never did. And you're gonna see, I think you'll see fantastic public relations go up with this. Because even myself, I had to bring it in, you can't do that, go back,
Right.
fix.
Right.
You know, it'd be good to get something for the general public to know they can be comfortable and not wonder why they're getting refused.
Yeah, and that's why the DST was such a good idea, that you could come in and talk about anything, and nobody was you weren't signing anything or moving forward, you were just talking and getting information from our various departments about what, oh, well, sorry, I know you think that's a good idea, but let me tell you why you can't do that there. And they would know that before they did anything. Now with partial information, they're finding out too late. and, you know, maybe they've already done something, and of course, that's not good. So I think this is something we should have done years and years ago. Thanks, Mayor, for thinking of it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Kate?
Item number 10, I'd like to make a motion that we allow the mayor to negotiate the purchase of the property at 59 Bridge Street, which is shown on the attachment we all have.
And for those,
Second.
thank you, Chris. And for those watching tonight, there is 59 Bridge Street. That is the parking lot that is at the corner of Main Street and Bridge Street. For those that know where Al Dente the restaurant is, it's kind of abutting that area. I came to the town council because the owner of the property came to see me to let me know that he was looking to either do some development on that property, or if the town would like to, entertain the thoughts of purchasing that property. As we all know, that property is on the corner of Main Street, and it's a very public space, as we all know, when their bird cages, as they called it, was put up there. And so he just said, if you guys were interested, let him know. So I bring this before the town council. Before we would do anything, obviously I would need your approval to negotiate. And what does that mean, negotiate? That means to talk to them, see what their thoughts are. And as we all know, the process here on town council, I'm sure Joe can let us know, is any kind of negotiation would have to be approved by this town council. Then it would have to be approved by the Board of Finance, and then be approved at a town meeting. So it's not just one guy, you know, proposing a negotiation. This is something that has its guardrails and safety checks put in place for that. If you were to allow me to negotiate, this would just be finding out what it would be to purchase this type of property, what the not only cost, but what the expectations would be. Obviously bringing it back to the council, and then the council obviously would decide whether they would want to move forward and not. I did want to bring this up for two reasons. One, obviously anything that deals with that has to come before our town council. Second, just as we all know how important that corner piece is to the aesthetics and the look of the downtown. If the town doesn't have any vested interest in that piece of property, then that could be built and conformed to pretty much, in certain development parts, any way the developer would like for it to happen, depending on what it is.
The height?
Yeah.
Depending on the development. So,
That's currently roped off and not used at this point in time.
Correct.
It was being used as a parking lot for the restaurant. However, the lease was too high and he's roped it off. And we need parking right now in town.
Mayor?
Well, hold me grandpa here. Used to be a gas station.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's underground there that might make it
It's been-
very difficult for anybody to put something in there?
Great question, Mayor. I know it used to be an old mobile station. When you look at the land records, the mobile, until infinitum, is responsible for any kind of remediation or any kind of work that is done on that property.
Oh, that's
Always.
exciting.
And it was, they did a lot of testing last year, I
Last
think
year.
about a year or so ago. Dug up a lot of stuff, cleaned it out, and just with last week, a person from, not, I don't know, from Mobile, but hired by Mobile, she came and was just testing some samples, sitting out there doing that, so, right. So, Mayor, I just want to make one point clear, so people watching. So if we say yes, we'll give you the right to go and negotiate with the owner of the property, Mr. Avalone. That means you come back to us, let's say you negotiate it, okay, it'll be $25, and you come back, not this really, but you come back and you say, okay, town council, I negotiated for $25. Is that, how do you want to vote, right? Okay, so we say, yeah, that's great, Mayor, $25, I couldn't believe you did that. Then it has to go to the Board of Finance, and we have to see what they have to say.
So
And then.
you would be appropriating, let's say, you come back and there's the negotiated price. You come to the town council says, that seems like a good price, in favor. Then it's gotta go to the Board of Finance. And then they've gotta say, that seems like a good deal.
And then.
Then it's gotta go to a town meeting. And then the town meeting has to say, that sounds like a good deal.
Okay, so my next question is, how hot to sell this is this Mr. Alone?
He is very motivated to do whatever he is going to do within this calendar year.
And he could build a 5-story garage or whatever, or it could be a really nice little trees, pocket park, and a few parking spaces, you know, as they see in cities. But it is one of the first places, you know, as you're coming into town, you go by the other gas station, and then you come up, and then.
Chris? And then Mary Jane?
And my understanding, this gentleman, Mr. Avalone, has got experience. He's done developments in
Yes.
Brookfield and other places. And
Yes.
he has developed condo buildings. So,
He did some 830G housing in Brookfield.
okay.
Some of those that they have there, I know that.
Mary Jane?
Is he the sole person in this LLC?
That I don't know, Mary Jane. I think negotiating, I can ask. I mean, when you look at the state Concord, it only puts the managing person. You don't have to say who the other LLC people are. I did ask him if he's the owner of the property, and he did tell me yes.
And where would we, take the money from if we're?
The $25.
No, the
I would think that would
$25.
be, Mary Jane, I think that would be something that we would need to talk about after, if you were to allow negotiations to come in to say it would be X amount. I think then we would sit down with our finance director, figure out where best use of taking that money would come from. But I wouldn't know because I wouldn't even know what he's asking.
Yeah.
So my question is, do you already have a vision for this piece of property?
Do I have a vision of the property?
Knowing that there are others who will have opinions, but do you?
Yeah, sure. I think some of the uses could be much needed parking. We definitely need that in the downtown area for sure, especially for those seniors, veterans, older veterans. The ability, could you make that a nice area for parking? Absolutely. Could there be other uses for that property? Absolutely. But I think off of first blush, as happening as it is, I think that's one of the things I know that's much needed here in the downtown, is parking. And if that was how we would look at it, I'm sure there's a way we could make a very nice avenue for parking there, and it still would look aesthetically beautiful, especially for the downtown area that we all know we have people coming from all over. I met people from Arkansas this past weekend that they were coming to our bandstand taking pictures because the Guard Club did such a phenomenal job with our plantings and everyone complimenting our beautiful downtown. I think whatever we do, that's why I think it's so important, that corner space, that we make it it enhances our building scape of the downtown.
And it's in the cultural.
I mean, if the wrong thing gets put in that spot, that could change the character of our downtown.
Absolutely.
Oh, right. But something, you gotta look at the facade, along the street next to it. I mean, there's a way that things could be done, so it would look like it belonged there.
So we would have the control if we decided.
Correct.
We pay for it, we get what we do what
Now,
we
you're
want.
$25.
I think that was good. Hey, you never know, maybe you start with that, Pete.
So in essence, he wants an answer by the end of the year?
I think just talk to him for the few minutes, I don't know after this, what would be said after that?
We're only 60, 75 days out of it to work something up.
So
Well,
what is he
you also
asking?
haven't started a negotiation, so you don't really know what he wants. Too
I mean,
bad it's
that's
not
something I can bring
2009.
back to the council,
Yeah,
if
price.
you allow for the negotiations.
I think we ought to put it on front burner.
Don't know unless you ask.
Yes,
So we
ma'am.
do have a motion.
And we have a second?
I'll
Any
second.
other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone.
Motion to adjourn, somebody? I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mary.
Second.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?